Hello, welcome to our chronological read through of Scripture. I'm glad that you're joining us again today. In today's reading, we're gonna read the account of Saul's being chosen to be king. Actually, we're also going to read about the public proclamation of Saul as king. We're going to read about the defeat of the Ammonites that confirms Paul's selection as king. And finally, we're going to read Samuel's warning to Israel about the monarchy. We begin reading in chapter 9 with the account of Saul. Actually, Saul's a tall, handsome Benjamite. We're told that he's a head taller than everybody else. He was sent by his father to locate some donkeys that had strayed from the family. After a lot of searching, he doesn't find them. And the servant that he's with suggests to him that they consult with the seer, or really the prophet, in a nearby town. Now, that prophet turns out to be Samuel. Now, God had revealed to Samuel the day that a man would come to him on that day, and that this was the man that God had selected to be king. So they obviously there's some interaction, there's a banquet and so on, or there's a feast going on and so on. But Samuel anoints Saul as king in private and gives him a number of instructions to follow and signs that will occur to indicate to Saul that what Samuel is telling him is true. You know, one of those instructions notes that Saul will come to a particular city that has a Philistine garrison in it, that the Spirit of God will come upon him while he is there, and that he's to do whatever seems right to him at the time. Well, this is an invitation to Saul to drive out the Philistines from that place and then proceed on to Gilgal to be anointed publicly as king with that victory under his belt. Ominously, Saul doesn't do this. And another scenario plays out for him to be publicly proclaimed and confirmed as king. And actually, indeed, we're going to find out over time that Saul seems to shy away from the Philistines and to play second fiddle to others when it comes to confronting them. His son Jonathan, for example, and of course, David, who slays Goliath. And actually, eventually, it's the Philistines that precipitate Paul's death in battle. So rather than making a bold entrance onto the stage as Israel's king with this victory against the Philistines under his belt, Saul's kingship is instead made known through a public gathering. Lots are cast. Finally, they're looking for someone in this tribe of Benjamin. The people have to go and search him out because he's hiding among the baggage. I mean, needless to say, some question his designation as king based on such a tenuous start. But God provides a victory to Saul over the Ammonites, and Saul's kingship is affirmed. Indeed, some of the people want to kill those who had objected to Saul's kingship, and Saul says, no, this is the Lord's victory, not my victory. We're not killing anybody today. In chapter 12, Saul then warns Israel about the monarchy. He reminds Israel that they have been served well by God through him, Samuel, as an honest judge. He reminds Israel of her constant unfaithfulness to God, even though God was always faithful or is always faithful to Israel. He urges Israel to be faithful to God under their new king, and he makes it very clear that if they are not, God's judgment will befall them and their king. Samuel illustrates this point by praying for God to send a thunderstorm, which God does. Now, that may not seem like such a big deal, but it terrifies the people because it's the dry season. It doesn't even rain in the dry season, let alone thunderstorm. And it's near harvest time. The violence of a thunderstorm could easily destroy the harvest by knocking down those heavy heads of grain. So the people confess their sin of rejecting God as their king, and they ask Samuel to pray for them. Samuel assures them that he will continue to pray for them, for to do otherwise would actually be a sin on his part, and that he would continue to instruct them on what is good and right. And he implores yet one more time that they remain faithful and obedient, lest they be swept away in judgment. You know, I wonder if you see any of yourself in this account. I mean, like Israel, are we not often quick to seek earthly solutions to what are ultimately spiritual problems? I mean, Israel wanted a king to fight her earthly wars, but her real problem was that she was unfaithful to God who alone gives security and peace. And like Saul, who hesitated to confront the Philistine outposts that resided in Israel, are we not often hesitant to confront the sin that sets up outposts and camps in our lives? May God grant us the grace to put our trust fully in him and therefore to push out of our lives all that is contrary to his will. Well, may God be with you and bless you. As always, I pray that your reading through these scriptures is proving beneficial to you, that you're learning, that you're growing. I look forward to joining with you again tomorrow as we continue.